talking with Erin McCormick Torres. She is the Chief Operating Officer of a really, really big real estate company who happens to have our virtual assistants in there, but that it's such a dynamic company that I begged her to be here with us today and twisted her arm and had her come. And so Erin, thanks for coming.
Thanks for inviting me. This is going to be exciting. Glad to chat with you. Adam Hergenrother, who's my leader and a phenomenal human being who has taught me more than I could have ever expected from a mentor, founded our company, Hergenrother Realty Group, which is an expansion team within Keller Williams. In 2010 is really when we started our first expansion team, which was then called Duplication. Since then, now we have 20 locations. Our hub is, and our base team is here in Vermont, but we have teams as far as Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We have teams in Albuquerque, New Mexico, south into Texas, all over the country. Right now we have around 185 agents or so, and we do have a really talented team of virtual professionals that help us so much in the back end and support a lot of our business. And they really do allow us to expand our reach, scale our systems, our tools, our models. When we operate a business at this scale, it truly is about having that foundation. And we always say that yes, people can sometimes be your greatest challenge, but they're also your greatest investment. So we really work hard on being in business, whether they're our team leaders, CEO partners around the country, whether with our agent partners, with our admin team, really having the best people who fit into our culture, who never want to leave us. One of our biggest goals, yes, we want to do 3,000 transactions in the coming year. Yes, we want to do $500 million worth of volume, but it's truly building that culture that no one wants to leave.
Well, and it feels like when you find those people and they decide to stick, that helps with scale. Like, yes. Describe that, because we were kind of doing a pre-talk. Yep. And what's unique about 3,000 transactions and $500 million in production is that you have to think about scaling. And most people think about systems and process and operations, but this conversation is all about people. Yes. So hiring the right people, whether they're virtual professionals or physically in your office or a partner CEO like you're talking about. Let's talk about that. I'm curious what your perspective is there.
Yeah, so I really do think that when you think about creating a big business, it's all about how do you expand your reach, how do you scale, how do you expand. With us, we also think about how can our people and all of the tasks that they do on a regular basis, how can we almost create a system out of that? So if we are doing anything that is going to be repeated, is going to be scaled, how can we, the first time we do that task or we make an optimization to a system or tool, how can we, create a system around that task where then we can have a team member implement that, optimize that on a regular basis. But we consistently are just thinking, and I think a lot of it is truly a mindset shift of how do I actually approach this in a way that is going to allow me to scale and grow and implement this in a lot of different markets that in turn allows us to achieve more on a daily basis. And we do give everybody on our teams, virtual assistants, virtual professionals, they truly are partners of ours, where it's not like, just go do these tasks. It's no, we want your feedback. You're the person who's in here every single day doing these tasks. Tell us how we're going to make it better. How can we support you in improving this process and optimizing our workflow? What are we doing that's not having ROI that we can just say, we don't need to do this in favor of doing something else?
Totally. So the difference in when you're growing a business, the difference between people who are scaling and not scaling is you guys have this hyper focus on culture and people, but also on optimizing the system. Everything is a system. Is it repeatable? Is it a process? Yes. Can I delegate it down or optimize it in some way? That's kind of your mindset for the scaling piece of it. Is that right?
We always think about how we can scale. For a long time, I joked saying scalability is my middle name because it's what I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about is, you're not going to be able to hire 100 people. So at some point, the work that your people are doing is going to have to be in a place that can scale to really do the work of that many people. So then it comes down to, what are those optimizations I need to make? Again, where can we shift things? We are in a constant state of change, and that's okay. And I think that's also where mentally you have to get when you're growing a big business. We need to rip off Band-Aids. We need to be changing. We need to be thinking strategically every single day about what we can do better or differently, or again, what we don't need to do, what's not moving the needle. I think that's one of the things that really gets businesses and just people in general into trouble, is saying, I'm doing the same thing because I always did it. We're in the business of saying, no, we don't want to do that. We really want to do what's actually going to move and propel the business forward, even if it means being in that constant state of change, which we've all known or kind of grown to enjoy, knowing that every day is going to be different. You're always going to have a new challenge and a new opportunity, truly.
Well, one of the things that you said here is rip the Band-Aid off. And I assume that there's some pain around that. And I think just our own challenges of scale, right? You get to a level of success, then you plateau and you realize what you've built to get there won't work for the next layer. And that's the Band-Aid that you have to rip off. Yeah. So talk to me about some of your experiences over the last 3 years in ripping those Band-Aids off in order to actually scale your business.
So I think, we've gone through a lot of different iterations and really trying to figure out, okay, who is going to be the right person for us to be in business with? It's not going to be everyone. Who is going to be in that right culture? What kind of level of production are we looking at? There are so many different things, and we have failed forwarded. Is that even a word? I don't know. But we have failed forward so many times that it's really about, okay, pausing for a second, looking back and figuring out, okay, we're at this level. How do we then rip off a Band-Aid, whatever it might be, go through this period of pain, but it's going to take us to that next stair step. So we're constantly, adding on these building blocks, adding on the next level of stair steps. That's going to get us to, we always talk about the hockey curve too, where, it's 3 to 5 years of kind of moving right along. And then you get to the point where you're seeing exponential growth really pretty quickly. But a lot of that comes to, consistently disrupting yourself, I would say.
So,
everything can change, truly.
Yeah, but you're okay with that, and that's not normal. Most employees and most people don't like change. They want to come into work, do their thing. So how do you create a culture where optimizing it and the consistent improvement always happens every single day? That's what, and I need you to unpack it so that our entrepreneurs who are newbies or medium-sized business, let's say, they're doing $1 million in revenue, not that level that you guys are at, right? How does somebody create that kind of culture when they only have, one admin and maybe a couple salespeople?
Yes, it all comes down to figuring out what your value proposition is, first and foremost. For us, we were very focused on creating a culture, again, that nobody wants to leave, but that's really focused on the individual and caring about the whole person. So we launched recently conscious coaching, where we're talking to people about, it really is so many different facets and layers of your life that forms the person who is going to be successful in a business. So for us, it's having culture tip the scale, where if you're looking at, money versus culture, money for us is going to be 49% and culture is going to be 51%. We're always tipping the scale at culture. But again, it comes down to really just being okay with disrupting yourself, being okay with knowing that things are going to change, but through change, there's opportunity. Through change, there's growth. And I, as a person, am not going to be able to achieve more if I'm not consistently looking at how I can be better, how I can do something different. So when you're having those conversations every day, looking at, how can we optimize? How can we grow? What's your next growth opportunity going to be doing? One of the things that we do that I really love in our organization is every person, our virtual professionals do this too. At the end of the day, they send a recap to their leader, their 5 questions. What successes did you have? What struggles did you have? How did you overcome those struggles? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your mindset? Be honest. If you had a really not so great day, tell us that, because we want to work through it with you. And then the 5th question is either who's your replacement, which is the first time Adam asked me that. I think I was with the company like 7 days and I was like, oh my gosh, are you letting me go? Or what's your next growth opportunity? So again, by having that culture and that foundation of knowing everything is constantly in this sort of state of change, this state of optimization, it just makes us better. And I think it's really about having those conversations on a weekly basis so that we know that truly opportunity and growth comes from being able to disrupt yourself and know that you're going to be better at the end of it, I guess.
That's kind of crazy. I love it. I love it. Well, if you're listening right now and you stay to the end, we're going to give scaling your business away with Mod Virtual Professionals. So we're definitely going to give this away at the end of the call, but this conversation is about what a virtual assistant can do for your business. And so Erin's got deep knowledge. We've been working together for almost 7 years, MyOutDesk and Adam and you guys. And so we've got a lot to share in that space. And we're going to talk about virtual culture. We're also going to talk about integrating them into your team, what systems you have to have, And basically you can take Erin's systems and processes, somebody who's, succeeding at a high level, and use them in your own business today. So that's the whole point of today. So let's jump into that. Let's do a baseline. What can a virtual assistant do for a small to medium-sized business? And let's give real life examples.
Yeah, so truly it's anything that needs to be repeated, I think. Okay. So we have virtual professionals. They've been with us. Our one has been Carissa. She's amazing, has been with us for 7 years. And she actually trained our now director of client care on listing management.
Yes. So our virtual assistant trained the physical in-house.
Yes, listing manager, who's now our director of client care. And Caitlin's been with us. Her 4-year anniversary is coming right up. Carissa actually trained her. So when Carissa started with our company, it was really just Hallie, who's Adam's chief of staff. I think our controller was, who at that point was more director of ops, was on board. But truly, Carissa came in as a listing manager. She was doing a lot of the client care. She was doing, scheduling photos. She was talking with couriers, whoever that might be. Again, anything that had to be scaled, anything that was a repeatable deliverable that we needed. So since then, we have had a lot of different virtual professionals. We've had them do a lot of different tasks. How we started scaling that is having the one person initially, who's our Carissa, learn how to do everything. Post on Facebook, send out MailChimp blasts, do a lot of the client care, do client care touches. Caitlin often jokes with us too and said, Carissa's better on the phone than I am, and talking to clients. So she's like, Carissa needs to do that. She's way more friendly, way more bubbly than I am. So it truly came down to viewing our virtual professional, even if they're so far away, as an extension of our team. The same, having that relationship be the same as somebody who's sitting next to me. Inviting them to weekly meetings, getting on Zoom, having conversations about, again, how can we optimize? What can we be doing differently? What are you seeing that are some different changes that you could make that's going to improve workflow? So I think a lot of it comes down to including that person as they are truly someone who's sitting next to you, because they're just as valuable in so many different areas. I mean, we love Carissa. We're bringing her to the U.S. next year, which we're so excited about, to actually meet her.
So excited.
I was chatting with her mom last week on Facebook about their Christmas decor. Like, we love our virtual professionals. But anyway, to get back to your question, I would start with your not to do list. What's on your not to do list that you don't want to do anymore? That's when you actually need to hire a virtual professional who can help you. And by creating those things, when I was thinking about hiring our marketing lead generation virtual professional, it was very much the regular Facebook boosting posts. It was running, ads through Facebook. It was importing our sphere of influence lists into our database. Adding drip campaigns, sending out bulk texts to these leads. So anything, again, that happens on a daily basis, they do for us. On the transaction side, they're in our database consistently looking at numbers, pulling reports. Every day they send out scorecards. So every, one of our 180 realtors knows exactly where they stand.
Why is that important? You
need to know your numbers. Again, we are very granularly focused on, okay, if you said that you're going to commit to 3 pendings this month, we want to support you and get into those 3 pendings this month. So you need every single day to focus on that number 3 until you actually get there. So we're extremely transparent about numbers and data and how that actually gets you to your goals by just hyper-focusing on those things. But, our virtual professionals now are really assigned to a team. So they will work with our teams from onboarding and any checklists that are tied to those, listing management, transaction coordination, client care, marketing, events. They help with everything. Again, anything that's duplicatable, any kind of task that we do, we create a video really quickly on it and we pass the video along to say, this is how you do this. Let us know if you can think of any optimizations that you can make.
Okay, hold on.
So much there, I know. I can talk about
you're too much, and I want to make the first point, then we'll jump into this.
Yeah.
So your perspective is if you can put it into a system or a process, or if it's not on your not to-do list, which I would probably reframe it if you're listening right now and you're a leader, an entrepreneur, a salesperson, if it's not dollar revenue generating tasks, delegate it down.
Yes.
If you're not getting revenue or hiring employees to get revenue, then, the only other job that maybe you should be doing as a leader is allocating capital, which is deciding to spend money. Those are the 3 things. Everything else, should be delegated down. And you're in your world, if it's in a system or a process, a virtual assistant can do it.
Yes, it's anything truly. And I actually don't like personally the word delegate. I prefer leverage because I think it speaks to opportunity. So, some of our people have a hard time giving things up, which is natural. And I think when you view it as, I'm not giving this person this task because I'm too good for it. I'm giving this person this task because for them, it's an opportunity. It's something different that they're going to be doing. It's a way that they can contribute. It's a way that they can grow by learning how to do different things.
Right.
And it really makes it so leverage feels like this is a growth opportunity for someone else on my team. And it allows, again, me to be freed up for things that are dollar producing. Consistently, we're looking at, okay, what activities can we be distributing to somebody else so that we can focus all of our time and energy on being purposeful and intentional with those dollar producing, minutes that we have in our day.
Because the biggest pain point that we hear from our clients 99% of the time is, I don't really have a lot of time, so how am I going to train them? So
yes.
How have you guys been effective at really onboarding virtual professionals into your business and training them to do it just how you like it done?
So I have to say that the virtual professionals who we work with, we spend a lot of time with your team making sure that it's the right fit for us. So always, going through the interview process, making sure that they have the skills that are going to complement the job that we have for them. And I will say that all the virtual professionals we have been highly trained. A lot of them are already Kellerized. A lot of them have worked in real estate for our industry, which has been great. But again, it's about taking that next step then and that next layer of saying, okay, I want this person to do it my way or our way. So for us, it truly comes down to, we have a Google site intranet that we built out, and all of our training materials go into that site. And we have it broken down by listing management, transaction coordination, essentially all of our divisions in the company. And this might seem like it's daunting. It's not. You can build one of these in an hour, truthfully. But it comes down to being purposeful and, again, intentional and strategic with, okay, I know that I want to duplicate this task. I know that I need to teach somebody else. So I'm going to do it because I need to do it right now anyway. And I'm going to record myself doing it. And I'm actually going to talk and narrate what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. That's a key thing right there, is the why behind an activity. So somebody truly understands it at its core. And I found also with virtual professionals that they understand why we're doing this, or even what the implication is to our business. It makes a lot more sense to them. And they can also prioritize better if they understand the why, if they can understand, what's the best thing that I can be doing to propel the business forward today.
Right.
So I would say, in terms of getting somebody started and trained, when I brought on my last virtual professional, I spent probably, I want to say 30 minutes with her every morning and said, here are some resources. These are some things I would like for you to achieve. And I made a big list. Here are some resources that you can look back on. Here are some videos if you need more guidance. Every time we have those calls, I also record them so I can send the recording off and they have that as a resource to look back on. But honestly, we felt that our virtual professionals really are self-starters. They are highly trained to begin with. So it's not like you need to teach somebody, okay, this is how you work Google Calendar, or, oh, this is how you work your CRM. No, they've been in so many of these different platforms that oftentimes they have less of a learning curve than we do, is what we've seen from our experience.
Well, okay, so I'm just going to play the devil's advocate, because you're the COO of a really big business doing, like, literally, you're in the top, there are 2 million real estate companies or people out there, and you guys are in the top, 2.
We're number 4.
Number 4. Okay. You have time to spend 30 minutes a day when you first onboard somebody. How is that even possible?
It's about prioritization. So for me, I know that sometimes when I'm finding that leverage partner for me, that I need to slow down to speed up, essentially. So I know that I need to make time in my calendar to ensure that the things that I'm passing off are going to be passed off in a way that I don't have to think about them again.
And you don't get in trouble later. Like, it doesn't come back to haunt you later.
Exactly. Let's do it once. Let's do it right. And again, if you're really diligent with your hours, so I talk to a lot of our CEOs and partners and agents about how do you really maximize every hour of your day?
Yep.
If you're being hyper-focused when you're actually working and efficient with your time, there's plenty of time in your day. Adam always says, time's not the cheat. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. So what if some people achieve so much and some people achieve so little? It's really about just making that time for what's important. And for me, it consistently is leverage. Because again, if there are tasks that I had been doing that I now have to pass over to a virtual professional, I want to make sure that they know how to do it. So boom, 30 minutes and never have to think about that task again.
Yep.
And that's often been my experience is you train people correctly once, they have it recorded, they can go back to that resource, and it's consistently then adding on layers and more things on top of that. You never have to go back and repeat yourself. And that's one of the things that's always most frustrating to me, just in terms of training people is when you're like, oh my gosh, I told you that 2 days ago. Do we really have to revisit this? And I've never had that with a virtual professional, which has been really cool. So oftentimes with our virtual professionals, they send kind of a hit list for the day in the morning to say, this is what I'm going to be working on. So we know exactly. One of the things that is, I would say, a core value on the administrative side of our business is that we don't micromanage. We don't look over people's shoulders. We hire accountable people so that we never have to feel like we're micromanaging or that we're ever checking up on someone or whatever else. So typically, even with some of our people, in staff here, we'll have them send, all right, this is my hit list. This is my prioritization list for the day. This is what I want to achieve. And then at the end of the day, it's the same thing. This is what I achieved. This is what I might need help with. This is where I might need a little bit more training. We also use Slack. Just to instant message during the day. We'll pop on Zoom when we need to. We have all of our checklists built out in Brivity. Some of our teams will use, Trello for collaboration. We use Airtable where we have all of our passwords and all of our data and everything in one place that we can achieve. But we also consistently, and this is the cool part, we include our VPs and all of our teams across the country so much in Facebook groups. We come together for all company meetings where we're consistently really talking about new initiatives, new focuses, things that are changing or we're optimizing. We also, I was telling you before, we do a lot of contests and programs where we did a weight loss challenge at the end of the year for 4 months. And one of our virtual professionals said, hey, I want to do this. We do book clubs, which some of them will join as well, where we do masterminds and discussions around those book clubs. So everyone in our organization, and I don't care where you are, has the same opportunities to buy into our culture, to participate in our culture. We do have a culture of accountability too. So if we're talking about, all right, I'm struggling with getting in my 30 minutes of exercise every day, as part of our Hurt Health Challenge, you have a whole group of people who are going to, wrap their arms around you and support you in that. And I think our virtual professionals really feel that too, because they are part and parcel of what we do and part of the team. It's, again, basic, but they are part of our team and they contribute so much to us. So we consistently are looking at how can we help grow them? How can we help pour into them on the personal level, financial level, fitness level, whatever it might be.
I love it. What are the things in your world, what are the things or the pieces of advice that you didn't know before you worked with MyOutDesk that you now know that you want to share with people so they can walk away from this conversation going, oh, okay, I need to do this before I hire? What are those kind of tidbits or things?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is having a mindset of leverage, to consistently be thinking about who could be doing this for me so that I can also get to that next level. So I can consistently be thinking about the strategy or how to open up a new business division, or how can I create a new business within our world. So the biggest thing is consistently thinking, okay, what's that next stage going to be for me? What's that next growth opportunity going to be? And what am I going to have to backfill? And then what opportunities does that create for someone else? That's the biggest thing, is just having that mindset, consistently thinking, who can be doing this better than I can be? I came on board as our marketing director and I was focused on lead generation, and social media very quickly was one of the things that I said, I'm not passionate about this anymore. I need to leverage it. I need to replace myself with someone better who can come in and know about all the trends and know about all of the different algorithms and whatever else. That wasn't me anymore, and that was okay. So I think it's okay also to be honest with yourself, to figure out, where do I actually really want to be? What role do I want to be in? And then figure out, what opportunity can I create for someone else based on that growth that I myself am having.
Okay, so have a leverage mindset, growth oriented, get the systems in place, don't be afraid to train, block on your calendar. These are some of your best tips for folks considering doing this. What's the if you were to nail a value, what's the value of hiring virtual professionals for your business? Is it the savings? Is it the leverage? Is it a combination? What's the why?
So for us, it's been an opportunity for other people and transforming other people's lives. I hope Carissa doesn't mind me sharing this, but a couple of years ago, she sent us a photo of a new vehicle that she was able to purchase. And we hear stories all the time about what our employment of them allows them to achieve in their life. And it feels amazing. We truly love our virtual professionals. They're some of my favorite people, honestly. So part of it is that it feels good to help other people. Part of it, of course, is the savings. But for us, our virtual professionals work harder than anyone that we have on the ground because they care so much. Mel, who's another one of our virtual professionals who I work really closely with, she goes above and beyond every single day. And she loves it. Again, it makes her feel good to serve us. Yeah. And me giving her that opportunity to do so feels good for me. So it's kind of this reciprocal relationship that he loves being part of our culture. And, it's funny, we had year-end reviews recently with them, and a lot of them thought that they need to be doing more and contributing more to us. They want to do more. And I'm like, you do so much. Yeah. It's so appreciated. So for us, it's really, we get a lot of value, a tremendous value.
What about the savings? Because you brushed over it. I want to be specific. Yeah. What do you guys find the differential between virtual professionals and in-house folks? And how would you kind of see that as value?
Yeah, I mean, let's just think about in Vermont, for a base salary, we have to pay $36,000 at a minimum. And you're not going to find a lot of people in our area here in Vermont or across the country who can make a great living making $36,000 necessarily. For us,
what's a normal pay though? Like if you hired somebody to replace Melody, or like what's the number?
Probably 45 to 50,000, and a lot of our virtual professionals, I mean, they range anywhere from I think 18,000 to 20,000, 30,000. Yeah. But for us, also some of those are 12-hour days, so it's not even just 8 hours. But I mean, it's a considerable cost savings to us.
Yeah, it's a third basically around that. I love it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's.
Yeah, you've heard me say it multiple times, but with culture at your core, you're never going to fail. And culture is going to lead you to the places where you can achieve really great things. And you can scale your people, you can grow your people, and consistently be creating an environment where people want to stay. They want longevity with your company because you consistently are focused on their growth. And again, who they become. It's personal growth through business success is really what we are consistently talking about. And how do we transform the lives of everyone who works in our organization and everyone who comes into contact with our organization as well.
Erin, in your opinion, working with VPs for as long as you have, when should somebody consider hiring one for their business?
So I would look really hard at your calendar first and foremost, because if your calendar is filled up with tasks that are solely tasks that aren't actually income producing, that's the time for you to hire, because you need that leverage so that, if you're in the office for 8 hours, how many of those hours are actually going to be focused on lead generation and lead conversion, if that's your one thing. So I think it's really about, if you can, by eliminating 6 hours of things on your calendar that don't matter by hiring a virtual professional, and then use those 6 hours purposefully to go out there and generate more business, you're going to pay for that leverage many, many, many times over.